So, dude, the time it's ticking down here.
Oh man, yeah.
And Minoru Suzuki enters Cincinnati with the theme that is probably the most popular theme song in the wrestling industry today.
It rose to number one on the Japan. So the U.S. Japan iTunes charts, which I think in itself doesn't sound that impressive, but when you consider the idea that this song is like from 2017 or whenever it was released, and it somehow just rose up the ranks ahead of current whatever songs would even be in that conversation because of one Minoru Suzuki appearance on a AEW pay-per-view watched by however many people. That is really impressive, and tells you that, at least for me, if you're a Minoru Suzuki fan, one of the highlights you're looking forward to in this on this show. And I can't imagine if I was looking forward to that much to it, what the people live in attendance would have felt.
The theme is just going. The crowd is amped. It's just building. Dun 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 dun, dun. Wild Thing. They fade out and kill the song before Kaza ni Nare. In some parts of the world, you might be arrested over this. Cincinnati might have been one of them. I don't understand it. I don't care how much time you're wasting. If you're arguing 60 seconds of match time versus that entrance, I think you're mortgaging the 60 seconds of the match.
I would absolutely. I mean, to me that
it looked like they were definitely running like these two got 8 minutes.
Oh, we know the reason why they cut it off. You know, it's like they were rushing to close the show ahead of time.
I just don't know if in the heat of that moment, I don't think I'm making that decision on the theme song. If I'm choosing between the match length and the theme song, I'm going an extra 45 seconds to make sure that moment gets on television.
Yeah. I think if you're Tony Khan, you're thinking, well, match quality over entrance. But this is arguably the best entrance in wrestling. Hard to say, how many people watching on TV on TNT, would agree with us and would have rather seen that.
Well, this was trending after the match.
Wow. Okay. Well,
so it seemed a lot of people. Now,
a decision he regrets.
Now, there is that potential that this is not the only Minoru Suzuki match we see in AEW. That if he's on one of these other shows, you're at least going to deliver on that. I still don't believe it would have been a conscious decision not to air this. But if they know that, that's some kind of a reprieve. But I think still, you want to have every time Minoru Suzuki comes out, you want the entrance.
Yes, absolutely. It does tell you though, I think it set the stage for what this whole match was going to be, and it's that wasn't going to be a usual Minoru Suzuki match. This will be, at least for me, the first time seeing a Minoru Suzuki match under TV time limit restrictions. Yeah,
they had 8 minutes, and part of that was the picture-in-picture. So you had like a 3-minute break in there. So the crowd is just rabid for Jon Moxley as he makes his way through the arena. I mean, a huge hometown star. And they just get right to it. They're trading forearms, boots. They're laughing, more forearms. And then they go to picture-in-picture. And Suzuki is wrapping Moxley's arm around the post several times. Moxley blocks a PK. He bites Suzuki. Suzuki bites him back. They do the skull-to-skull contact. They certainly braced themselves for it. It wasn't one of the sick ones, but still unnecessary. Moxley ducks a lariat, it's Suzuki that ducks the lariat and applies the rear naked choke, but the gotch is countered with a back body drop. And in the contact here, Suzuki's right eye, he gets busted right above it, and he's got just this circular red, like it's just blood all around the eye. And it's just this crazy looking visual that they got here.
Yeah. And I mean, a man who loves violence knew exactly what to do with that.
Oh, dude, this guy, he's just like screaming in the air. It's like the fortunate color here that came his way. There's a lariat by Moxley. Suzuki kicks out at one, and then Moxley can't get him to go down from the lariats. He screams, then nails Moxley with this drop kick. Back to the rear naked choke, but Moxley spins and just starts landing these clean punches, and Suzuki goes limp. Moxley lifts him up, and he's going for the paradigm shift. This was more of like a suplex than the traditional like dump him on his head. And that was the finish, 8 minutes and 6 seconds. I still thought this was like a really entertaining 8 minutes that they had. And I'm sure they had much more. I'm sure that they had a lot more in store, but they made like, it was still a fun 8 minutes. But the theme song, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, that aside, I mean, I absolutely enjoyed it. I thought the energy was electric and the atmosphere felt incredibly special. This was a live crowd that was chanting "Holy shit" at the moment that Suzuki entered, and seeing him against their top guy, it was absolutely the perfect match to make. If this is your first time watching Suzuki, I think you would have like come across like wanting to see a whole lot more. But if you have seen this match prior, if you have seen other Minoru Suzuki appearances, it was certainly weird seeing Suzuki like work a match within TV limits, and especially rush TV limits. It felt like they were trying to get through all of Suzuki's spots in there. You don't really realize it, but like a lot of those spots depend on time and breathing room to really, I think, work. So I think a lot of it felt rushed and didn't really come across as well. But it was a good TV match, and I think only though a sampling of the quality of a match they could have under less constraints.
So the match ends, and I really thought this was cool that they did this. But it goes against like the argument of like the theme song getting cut. But they had a good like 90 seconds, 2 minutes of Moxley just having a love-in the audience with the crowd. And I thought it was great that they did this because it just like cemented this guy feeling like such a great hometown hero to this audience that instead of just going right off the air, they let that win sink in and Moxley feel like a big star. But
yeah, and if you're Tony Khan, I think that's the image that you're thinking of. I wanted to make sure that I give these two wrestlers enough time to do their thing, and I want to make sure that we establish Moxley as a big hometown hero at the end of it. So something had to give, and unfortunately that was Suzuki's song.